Hello and welcome to another episode of Gadgets and Gizmos. My name is Preti, and in this world full of war, hatred, conflicts, corruption, damn, so much wrong is going on in this earth, man. I say let's just leave it. There is news for Blackberry boys and girls, if there are any left. Blackberry has officially decided that they will stop manufacturing the Blackberry smartphone. They're not shutting it totally, but now they'll outsource it. So whosoever is interested can probably ask for Blackberry's branding and all that. I don't know if there is any. But yeah, Blackberry smartphones was something back in the days.
It's the end of an era for Blackberry, as Blackberry had decided to hang up on the smartphone business and instead concentrate on the software side of things, where it's still making some money. Blackberry was the smartphone of choice for people in prominent positions like corporates, ministers, and also some journalists.
Blackberry has finally given up on manufacturing any new Blackberry smartphone. It will now outsource the production to overseas partners and concentrate more on the software side of things, which is still making some money for the company. Although Apple has just announced that they will be targeting the big business smartphone deployment, which was one of the main sources of revenue for Blackberry. At its peak, Blackberry had almost 85 million subscribers, and that number fell to 23 million by the year 2016. The company had once reached market value of $80 billion, and today it's worth $4.3 billion. When the Blackberry 850 was released in 1999, it married a functional keyboard with email capability and essentially ushered in the modern smartphone era. They were an instant hit with business executives and heads of state alike. Things somewhat began to change in the year 2007 when Apple released its first iPhone, a phone with a touchscreen and app store. The excitement for a new iPhone launch grew stronger and stronger every year, and this meant people ditching the Blackberry camp. Android smartphones also started to pick up, with affordable smartphones and plenty of apps in offering. Blackberry, on the other hand, decided to stay the same with its QWERTY keypad. And when Blackberry finally decided to switch to bigger display and touch panel, it was too late to return.
So I was always happy with the Nokia, but then I remember watching this series on television. It was called Entourage, and there were all these high-flying officials with these Blackberries in their phones, and they never used to put the phones in their pocket. They always had it in their hands, tucked between their fingers and the thumb, and that was just something that was so cool back in the day.
The BB pin was the thing at that moment. People would not ask for your numbers, they would just ask for your BB pin. So yeah, I bought it because of the BB pin and the QWERTY keyboard.
I like the trackball, because you had to touch it and to swipe from here and there. It wasn't a touch-based thing, but it was a very early version of a touchscreen thing. It was kind of cool.
But there are a few who never really liked the Blackberry.
Typically, I've never been fond of Blackberries because, I was more a Nokia user and I was more used to the Nokia way of unlocking, locking, or the Nokia keypad, and this keypad just seemed cumbersome to me. I don't know, man, it just doesn't, even back then I don't know why this was all the rage, and people with BBM used to just annoy me. And there were much better phones back then also, like Sony Ericsson P900 or a Nokia N97 or a 95. I don't know, I never liked Blackberries.
Blackberry said it struck a licensing agreement with an Indonesian company to make and distribute branded devices.
We need to sit down with each and every one of them working on a portfolio. But my point I was going to get to is that these devices that I license and they build, some of them are for their country, like in the case of Indonesia. Yeah. Okay? Others are actually for more worldwide consumptions.
It's interesting that now when everybody's talking about data security and privacy and encryption, all that, the very phone which stood up for all these things is no more. And for people born in the iPhone generation, this is how a Blackberry looked like.
Fitness wearables. Now everybody is buying them these days. Everybody likes to wear them. But as per a research, almost 50% of the users stop using their fitness devices after 6 months. But then that's the case with everything, right? People who are serious about fitness, they are serious about fitness. So, Fitbit has launched another fitness tracker. Let's take a look.
Now, fitness trackers are all the rage these days. We have new wearable devices coming into the market every week. But today we're getting our hands on a fitness device launched by one of the earliest companies to have started this whole trend of fitness devices. I'm talking about the company called Fitbit, and they've actually released a sequel to the earlier highly popular Charge HR. This time they're calling it the Charge 2, and I'm already sold on the looks. What stood out for us was the sleek design of the new Charge 2. The 1.5-inch OLED display is appealing. The strap on the Charge 2 is comfortable and has a good grip. The straps are changeable and there are vibrant color options for the same. You can get the strap in light blue, dark blue, black or purple. There's a button on the left-hand side of the tracker that you use to skip through the menu options such as steps, time, heart rate and calories. Tapping on the display lets you cycle through the multiple functions and parameters. A refreshing feature on the Charge 2 is its ability to monitor your heart rate and pulse in real time. So now you can actually watch your heartbeat during different situations and workouts. Now, everything the earlier Charge HR could do, the Charge 2 can do with more style and a little more of accuracy. But that said, there is still a little bit of discrepancy in the number of steps walked and the number of steps recorded, which can affect all the other details that the watch will give you. But that's just a wee bit off from the real number and not a major thing to crib about. The Fitbit Charge 2 has a much bigger display than its earlier Charge HR, which means it can offer much more in terms of display. It also tries to fix one of the biggest complaints with the earlier version, the band, by offering one that can be changed easily. The Fitbit app has seen some modifications as well and is easy to navigate on. Once the device is synced onto your phone, it's easy navigation thereon. The Charge 2 introduces a new weightlifting mode as well, which can track the exact time of your session in the gym. Apart from your regular personalized alerts to stand up and clock a few steps if you have been sitting or been idle for too long, the band can also help log what you are eating and drinking. So overall, this is one of the best looking fitness devices as per me in this price range. It's unisex, the straps are interchangeable and it looks pretty cool. So if you've got the 15 grand for a good looking indulgence, I say go for it.
Alright, so this week we're reviewing a phone from a company called TCL. It's another Chinese company and the model name is TCL 562. It's a budget smartphone, which means that it would be competing against other Chinese brands in the segment. So is it any good? Can it stand up to the competition? Let's find out. Now, a couple of months back, we reviewed a phone from a company called TCL. It was a TCL 560, a good phone. And now we have another phone from the company. This is a TCL 562 and it's priced for around 11,000 rupees, which means that it would be competing in a segment which is ruled by other Chinese players. Now, on paper, the phone has some pretty interesting specification and should match up to the competition, but does it? Let's find out.
Talking about the design, the TCL 562 has a plastic back and has brushed metal look, which looks nice. TCL has played safe with the design, and you can either criticize it or just don't say a thing. We are okay with it. The port and button placements are standard, and at the back you see this protruding 13 megapixel camera along with LED flash. You got a 5.5-inch display with 1080 by 1920 pixel resolution. The screen is bright, the colors look fairly accurate, and we use this old retro theme most of the time though. And yes, the viewing angles, they are good. Great for watching videos. However, outdoor legibility is an issue. The touch response is great and navigating through the menu is smooth. Now the phone is running on Android 6.0 Marshmallow and TCL has done a bit of its own customization, which is clean. But yeah, you do get these preloaded apps which might or might not come handy. If you swipe through the right, you'll get TCL Stream, which gives you news feeds, weather update, and you can add whatever you want to view. And yes, the phone has fingerprint scanner to unlock, and it's quite fast and accurate.
Now the TCL 562 is not using a Snapdragon 652 processor, which is used by other players in this segment, namely the Redmi Note 3 and the Layer 2. Instead, it makes use of a MediaTek processor, the MediaTek P10, which is an octa-core processor, and there is 3 GB of RAM. Now this combination is good enough and it should translate into good performance, and it does.
So what do you want to do with the phone? Surf the web, open apps, open multiple apps, watch videos, click pictures and play games? We face no lags or stutters whatsoever. Gaming performance is also good, although we suggest don't play those graphic intensive games and you'll be happy. Prolonged usage of course leads to heating. Overall performance is fairly good and not as zippy as Redmi Note 3 or Layer 2, but for a price which is 1000 rupees less than the above mentioned phones, it's a decent proposition. The 3000 mAh battery helps the phone to last a day, which is great. Coming to the camera, the 13MP camera with LED flash gives good results in good light, which is the case with every smartphone camera these days, which also means low light performance is not worth talking about. So overall, you get pictures that you can upload on social media.
Now time for the verdict. Now I'll have to confess that I couldn't really find any jarring problems or any difficulty whatsoever with this smartphone. The design is decent, it looks good, nothing unique and nothing odd about the phone. The performance is good, the camera is decent, the battery life, it gives you a day of battery life, which is pretty good. But where does it fare against the competition? I would say it's almost there, but doesn't really match the performance of, say, the Redmi Note 3 or the Layer 2, but it's a decent performer and I can say that you can always give it a shot. Why not? Alright, time to see what's making news in the world of technology. Elon Musk wants to take you to Mars. Are you ready? I was, but it costs money. All this and more in Tech News.
SpaceX is developing an interplanetary rocket and capsule to transport large numbers of people and cargo to Mars with the ultimate goal of colonizing the planet. Company chief and tech billionaire Elon Musk said at an event. While SpaceX is still investigating why a rocket carrying an Israeli satellite worth $200 million blew up on a launch pad in Florida earlier this month, Musk has already outlined his plans for a massive Mars rocket capable of carrying 100 passengers plus cargo per voyage. Though he said he envisions humans living on a large colony on Mars, Musk added that the key will be getting the cost down low enough to attract willing volunteers.
So October 4th is the day when Google would be launching two of its new smartphones under a new brand name, Pixel. Google is finally going to ditch the Nexus brand. That's what the rumors are, but there are also rumors that Google could finally be launching its new OS. So as we know, Google right now has two operating systems, one for smartphones called Android and one is Google Chrome OS that works on its Google Chromebooks. Google wants to unite both the OS and give you a new hybrid operating system. Right now it's codenamed Andromeda. So why is there a need of a new hybrid operating system? Well, it's important for Google because Google wants to have a singular operating system that could be running across all the platforms, smartphone, tablets and laptops. That should give you a seamless experience.
So in terms of the festival offers that we are coming across, we've lined up some very interesting offers for our users. One which I can talk about is right now, which is finalized, is as we bring Lumax 2 on new platforms of Amazon and Snapdeal along with Flipkart and Lamall, we will be giving a limited period offer of price discounts on that. We will be giving a reduction in price. From a 22,999, we are bringing it down to 17,999. So that's for a festive cheer for all our users across the country.
Concerned over the falling iPhone sales and the phenomenal rise of Chinese smartphone players, Apple has set up its first research and development center in China with the initial investment of 100 million yuan. That's about $15 million. According to China Daily, the facility will be set up in Wangjing area of Beijing. The center will have nearly 500 employees and the total investment will eventually reach 300 million yuan, $45 million. The administrative committee of Zhongguancun Science Park posted on social media.
Alright, so that's all we have for you in this week's episode of Gadgets and Gizmos. We hope you had fun. If you didn't, then it happens. Sometimes you can't have fun. And they say that happiness comes from inside. So we'll see you next week with more of Gadgets and Gizmos. Until then, have fun.
What?